I don't brag much. Well, not about OverThinker episodes, anyway. Oh, I'll plug the shit out of my stuff. I'm a whore when it comes to attention. I mean, hey, have you sent Game OverThinker links to all your friends and family yet? But brag? Nah, not much. But if I did, one thing that'd surely be on my to brag about list would be that as far as I know, nobody in the alarmingly vast world of snarky video game culture commentators gives hardcore gamers and the whole notion of a militarized minority of genre devotees trying to keep the business in a permanent holding pattern a harder time than me. Maybe too hard. After all, the reason I kid is because I understand. I'm one of you, after all. This is a fact that became a little clearer than usual to me over December as I played my way through Order of Ecclesia, which, for the record, you should get if you haven't already. Best new Castlevania in a long time, just enough of a twist to keep it fresh. I really dig that it's got a tangible fondness for the legacy of its predecessors, particularly and surprisingly my beloved and much misunderstood Simon's Quest and... Shanoa. Wow. Best Castlevania character since Alucard, easy. If this was a real woman, I'd wear a leash and sleep at the foot of her bed. Anyway, I was getting owned by a particularly pain-in-the-ass boss one night, and realizing I didn't have anything else to do for a few hours, I decided to beat him the old-fashioned way. I backtracked to an earlier area containing powerful, experience-rich enemies and began to kill them over and over and over, watching my experience points rise with every kill and thus my strength increase with each new level arisen too. Modern MMORPG players will recognize this as the primitive form of what's now called level grinding. It's a foolproof plan, really. If you do it for long enough, you'll eventually be so powerful that formerly unbeatable bosses will suddenly be weaker than a Brett Ratner narrative. It just takes fucking forever. And yet, as I sat there in my car parked somewhere between the office and the gym, repeating this task and watching my numbers slowly climb, I was enjoying myself. It was the very definition of play being more like work, but it was satisfying to remember what it was like to beat a game at its own game. Is it fun? No, level grinding isn't fun, it's work. But it comes with a reward in the game. Is a handful of pixel art animation frames depicting the death of a boss worth the hours of monotonous grind? Sure they are, if you love gaming enough. This, it dawned on me, is what it finally is to truly be a hardcore gamer. To enjoy playing games so much that you even enjoy the parts that are, well, work. Putting aside all the rhetoric and stereotypes, this is where the foundational divide between the hardcore and the casual gamer comes from. Hardcores tend to hold gaming as one of, if not the, focal points of their recreational lives, while casuals tend to hold gaming as something to kill time with here and there during the day. Hardcores, some of us at least, fear the rise of casual gaming because those games are cheaper to make, and if they're also more profitable, it could squeeze our preferred type of game out of the market, or worse, turn our games into less challenging and thus less rewarding to us casual games. Casual gamers, on the other hand, don't really have fears about the situation. They have other stuff to do. The question isn't whether or not this rift exists. It does. The question ought to be what's to be done about it. How do we keep an endless stream of casual gaming from making the medium so lightweight it floats away into nothingness, while at the same time keeping the hardcore backlash from causing the medium to vanish up its own asshole? The best case scenario, generally, is said to be helping casual gaming newcomers, i.e. Generation We, transition into hardcore gamers in their own right. But that's easier said than done, and the industry isn't exactly being helpful. The problem with this kind of transition is the transitional mechanism doesn't exist. It's not like learning to read where there's different levels of material to work one's way up through. When it comes to gaming, it's just one huge expanse of empty space in between Dr. Seuss and James Joyce. Most hardcore games aren't really known as hardcore because of their difficulty, but rather their insiderness. They're gamers' games, and folks new to the hobby need not apply. Take my Order of Ecclesia example for example. I knew what to do about my boss trouble not because of a deduction of in-game logic or even a hint in the manual. I knew what to do because I've been playing Castlevania games since the early 80s. What if I hadn't? What if the DS was my first gaming device ever, and I'd picked up the game because the reviews had been good? There's a pretty good chance that a boss kicking my ass that hard and having no available trick to killing him at my disposal would have quickly frustrated the shit out of me, and would have led me to toss the game and decide I'd be better off sticking with Brain Age. A common complaint about everything from the recent Tomb Raider games to Twilight Princess and most other franchise installments by hardcore gamers is that they're too easy. Well, of course they're easy for us. We've been playing them for close to a decade now, some of us more. Of course I know what to do when I meet a Goron, but for the kid for whom this is his first Zelda game, it's probably going to be hard as hell. Nature of the business, fellas. Trouble being, hard as hell isn't a selling point to everybody. This is the conundrum that Nintendo's Shigeru Miyamoto, creator of Mario, point man on the Wii, and the man, let's face it, most responsible for all of us being here talking about this right now, has made it the focus of his recent career to solve. How do you bring gaming to the masses, or the masses to gaming, without diluting it beyond repair? We've already managed to turn the Wii into a must-have household appliance for millions of formerly gameless consumers. Now, can they get them to expand their newfound gaming acumen beyond Wii Sports? A mysterious patent filed by Mr. Miyamoto in 2008 but revealed to the public in early January of 2009 appears to hold the key, or at least what someone at Nintendo hopes is the key. The patent is fairly vague as to the details, but it suggests nothing less than an entirely new way of presenting extended-length narrative games like Mario or Zelda, chiefly the application of built-in divergent play modes. In this, so far, theoretical game of tomorrow, players would be able to experience the game in at least three distinct ways. The first being the traditional play-to-the-end, figure-things-out-yourself way. The second being a kind of scene selection mode, like the one attempted in the recent and pretty much already forgotten Alone in the Dark do-over. The third, well, the third is where all the hubbub is. The conceptual third mode of the Miyamoto patent is called Digest, and it posits nothing less or more than a game which, if asked, will play itself. Pre-recorded gameplay footage and cutscenes would play out on autopilot, giving you the option to take the wheel and do it for yourself as little or as much as you'd like. You wouldn't be able to save and your score wouldn't count, but you'd get to see and experience the whole game without having to officially beat it on your own. Now, like every other Wii-related announcement that isn't a confirmed release date of Kid Icarus, the revelation of this latest Miyamoto innovation has sent most of the hardcore gaming community into fits of rage typically only seen in Saiyan princes. This was, after all, something akin to heresy, wasn't it? They can't do this, can they? Make endings and secrets and storylines available to everyone instead of just those of us with the time and the skill to unlock them? Sure, they aren't forcing us to use it, but it's the principle of the thing, isn't it? Look, who knows what this will actually turn out to be, or if it'll even work, but these early teases suggest to me that this might actually be the much sought-after third way. Instead of partitioning the business out into a casual and hardcore apartheid, we could be looking at a world where there are just games that can be set to one's preferred mode of play. No more dumbing down or obtusing up, just the flip of a goddamn switch. Damn near every other recreational activity works like this, so why can't gaming? Before a two-wheeled bike, most of us started on training wheels, right? Before baseball, there's t-ball. Before you hunt down Dad's Playboys, you use Mom's Victoria's Secret. Pre-programmed hand-holding may sound lame to us, but it's not for us. We're veterans. This is for the new kids, the people learning. If this is real and the information we already have holds to be correct, we could be looking at a world where gaming finally does become as accessible and multi-layered as film-going or TV watching. My question to you is, are we ready for that? Are we ready for the cherished insiderness of gaming to go the way of the dodo, replaced by a new paradigm where our one-time cult icons are now commonly known elements of the popular culture? Remember how weird it was at first to see your grandma buying a Wii? How weird do you think it's going to be when you find out she knows who Ganondorf is? Are you ready for that? Are you ready to hear your coworkers discussing chocobos around the water cooler in between Lost speculation? Are you ready to hear your barber arguing with your butcher about Luca's debatable sexuality? Are you ready to turn on MSNBC and hear Rachel Maddow refer to a late-in-the-game political dirty trick as a candidate having used the blue shell? Are you ready to check me out on the escape? No. I'm playing. I'm not going to do that gag again. Although I did just review my Bloody Valentine 3D for them. but no. One entry off from my shameless self-promotion for a change. Cool stuff coming in that regard, though. I'll keep you posted. And hey, are you ready? Are you really ready to not have to explain to anyone what the fuck is going on here? Oh, hey, before I go, just a quick word about scheduling. I know new installments of this aren't coming as fast as you or I want them to. Fact is, I've got a new day job that's keeping me very busy, which means less time to work on these in the evenings. Plus, I've got some other cool stuff coming I can't talk about just yet, but I think you're going to like. You see, all told, average OverThinker episodes take about 15 to 20 hours total to complete. And since I now only have about 2 hours a day maybe to work on them, well, do the math. So they go up as they get done. What I can offer is that this has led me to try and stay focused more on making each one really count. So stay tuned, guys, and thanks for watching.